Okay, so now we have our mesh, we have our smoke. Let's bring some particle on top of this to get some burning particle, to get some embers, and it's really gonna help us to sell the effect. So let's go into our snake lava emitter, and we're gonna start from our flip emitter. We can see we did nice velocity. So yeah, we're gonna start from here. So let's first bring a point vapor, which I'm gonna call upvel. And in this one, I'm gonna do the same I did for the smoke. Just gonna make this vector going up a little bit more. So let's bring a mix. Let's bring a constant. Let's put this to vector pointing into y direction. 100, very strong. Let's plug this current velocity. And yeah, so obviously too strong. So we're gonna get back a little bit of that old velocity. Here we go. Let's go 0. Yeah, 93. Here we go. So let's go ahead and create a popnet. And yeah, so we can see default theme. It's not really what we want. So yeah, let's dive inside the popnet. And first thing I'm gonna change is, I would say, the birth. So yeah, let's put 100. Let's now bring a pop drag, which I'm gonna use to attenuate that velocity a little bit. So let's put 0.5, and here we go. So now we still have a strong velocity, but particle kind of froze up in the air, spacey particle. All right, so let's now bring a gravity to make all these numbers falling. So let's set this to, I'm gonna say -4, because I don't want them to fall too quickly. Let's also bring a ground plane to make sure we get something to collide with. Put this to mutual, and let's hide the ground plane. And let's play it. Okay, yeah, look nice. Miss a little bit of craziness, so let's go create a pop force, which we're gonna use to put some turbulence. So let's put the amplitude to 6, and let's bring the swirl size to 3. And here we go. So yeah, that should do it. Very basic setup, but we don't need to overcomplicate it. It's just gonna be an extra pass. So yeah, let's go ahead and bring our particle out. So we're gonna specify we just want pop object. Here we go. Alright, so let's now bring some instance. So we're gonna start with the sphere, switch this to polygon mesh, and let's bring a copy to point. Let's select our sphere and our particle, and here we go. Amazing, amazing sphere. Alright, so let's now first bring our wrangle attributes, which I'm going to use to change the scale and rotation. So I'm going to call this scale rot. And let's start by setting the P scale to, let's say 0, 1. Here we go. So now let's start putting a noise on our sphere. So we're going to drop a point varp, which we're going to call mountain. I'm going to dive inside, and I'm just going to have some turbulent noise on it. So let's bring a add, and let's bring a turbulent noise. Here we go. So taking the current point position, and let's add a quick noise. So let's put this to 3D noise, simplex noise, and let's put the amplitude to 1.6. Here we go. I'm gonna leave it this way, and now we're just gonna give some radius to our sphere, yeah, to get a long rock, and we're gonna decrease division of the sphere. So let's go 10 by 10. We don't need more, and here we go. All right, so let's now going back to our attribute function where we're gonna start tweaking the p-scale attribute. So we're gonna go ahead and put everything inside a fit. So let's write fit 01. Then we're gonna call run expression, and we're gonna use the ptnum of each point attribute, and we're gonna set the minimum to 0.01 and a maximum to 0.02. Here we go. So now we can see the p-scale changing. Let's display this. Yeah, let's go closer. So now let's bring some rotation on our numbers. So I'm gonna start by creating an angle attribute, which is gonna be a float. And again, I'm gonna set a fit. I'm gonna go to ran, and I'm gonna use the pt attributes, ptnum attributes. And I'm gonna set the minimum to -50 and maximum rotation to 50. Here we go. Actually, let's go full circle and drop 360 as maximum. All right. Then we're gonna use the rods attribute from Houdini, and we're gonna set a quaternion. We're gonna use our angle attribute, which is created, and then we're gonna specify which axis we want to be affected. So let's go with the X, Y, Z, and let's close this. Okay, so let's now take care of the color of our numbers. So the good thing to have when we're dealing with like burning debris or embers particle is to get some kind of mix between very bright stuff and very dark stuff. So if we change the viewport to, let's put it to light mode, we can see that we already have some black and white value due to the viscosity noise that the particle keeps. So we're going to drop a point varp, and we're going to try to contrast everything. So let's call this contrast, and let's dive inside it, and we're going to drop a fit range. Here we go. So we're going to take the CD and CD out, and let's go crazy on the dark one. So we're going to put like -1.3, and for the bright stuff we're going to do, let's go insane and put like 7. There we go. So now I can see I have some black and white stuff. All right, so looking good. just gonna be an extra pass. So yeah, let's drop a new output and we're gonna call this embers out. Let's now bring them out. So we're gonna drop a geometry node and we're gonna call this embers. We're gonna put some yellow burning color on it and we're gonna go inside and drop an object mesh. And we're gonna go grab our embers out. Here we go. Okay, so before we go into renders, let's just go back into our snake lava emitter and let's make sure we're looking at our snake lava out mesh. All good. And yeah, let's go into our camera view so we can see the embers and the mesh. So let's go into out and we're gonna go from the mantra render we use for the smoke. So let's duplicate it and we're gonna call this embers render. Here we go. So let's go into object and we're gonna choose, of course, the embers. For the matte, I'm gonna use this, the ground and the mesh. And for lighting, let's just say I want to use the environment light. Here we go. So now let's go into the extra mesh plane. So we do want, like the mesh, we want the depth pass, and that's it. So we're gonna replace this to embers. And yeah, let's go ahead and try to render this. All right. Okay, so everything looks good. Let's now bring some motion blur to it. So I'm gonna go sampling, velocity blur, gonna go into my out and make sure, yeah, so I get a render, motion blur. So maybe, yeah, motion blur is too shy, so I'm just gonna bump this into our embers node. So we're gonna dive inside and let's put a wronged attribute where we're just gonna say velocity. Yeah, we're just gonna multiply by 2 the velocity. Here we go, so we can see motion blur now. If we put like crazy 6, yeah, it's working. So yeah, let's stick to 2 value. Alright, so let's go ahead and render this. It's gonna be a very quick render, but before that, let's, instead of looking at our final mesh, we're gonna look at the file cache directly. So this way, maybe the attribute transfer doesn't have to compute. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit faster. So yeah, let's go ahead into our out and let's render this. Should take about like 20 minutes.